welcome everybody to another one of our webinars. This one we've got a special treat, and it's something that's kind of near and dear to the coaching education program within North Texas, because as we really start to gear up and try to get our education building bigger and better to help all of our coaches out, especially with our grassroots courses, to make better coaches within North Texas. And so in the last year, I've gotten the pleasure to work with both Sammy Robinson at BAYFA and then David Tillstone at Allen Soccer Association. And in doing so, both these guys have rock and rolled as far as numbers. And just kind of give you a hint, we maxed out our numbers. In fact, there was wait lists on the BAYFA courses, and we had 11v11 and 9v9? Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
And then now at Allen with our 7v7 and our 4v4 right now, Allen's sitting at 31 candidates registered out of 36, and we're still almost a month out, as well as the 7v7, which is at 28 to 36. And so, just like I said, guys, I appreciate that. I can't tell you how much North Texas appreciates that, and really the coaches that you guys get the pleasure of working with, I think it helps them out. But I want to bring you guys on and kind of talk about your strategies and the ways you pulled it off, and see if we can't share the love to the rest of the North Texas soccer associations, and see if we continue to grow. Once again, thank you all very much for joining.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, for sure. I appreciate you guys taking the time tonight too, because I know it's a Wednesday night, which is really off our regular schedule. But let's kind of open it up and kind of free talk on this thing. But I'll go with you, Sam, to start yours, and just kind of tell me what strategies you guys use as far as to get the numbers up. Is there anything that stood out to you in the process? And then Alan or David will come up next for the Allen Soccer Association, but let's go with that. Sammy, I'll turn it over to you for a second.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, so I've only been president since July, right? But so we had the fall and then now going into the spring season. And I mean, really just from the get-go, like letting the coaches know, hey, here's what's offered. Because a lot of times they just don't know, right? You know, they don't all follow North Texas Soccer on Facebook or whatever. And then also we do, this year we started doing a coaches group me. So that's helped a lot because, you know, if they have a quick question, you know, they can get on there. And it doesn't really apply to the classes, but it helps a lot just with the day-to-day operations. And as far as getting people onto the classes, I mean, I don't think I can take that much credit for it. I think a lot of it is area. We're in a good spot. I would say weather was nice, but it definitely wasn't. It was freezing. Yeah, I mean, getting it on Facebook, letting people know. I don't really know how many people, you know, saw our Facebook post and signed up for it, or if they were just looking for something a little closer. You know, we're kind of in that mid cities area where there's a lot of organizations around.
Oh, it was perfect. Yeah, and it was awful that day. I mean, what was the temperature running between 28 degrees, and I don't think it ever went above freezing on the wind chill factor.
I think the first class when I first got there was like 19, which is,
oh wow,
that's pretty cold for Texas.
yeah, no doubt, that's for sure. And then David, I'll turn it over to you for a second. Then I've got some follow-up questions if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, no, similar to Sammy, I've only been in the position for the fall season last year. I'm not sure how much credit I can take for it. I think, you know, everything North Texas has been doing to get these classes back up and running and really getting out there has been fantastic. So I think, you know, Sammy mentioned they're in a good spot. We have very good relationships with the other associations that are nearby us. So we've also got coaches from other associations that are coming in and taking these 4v4 and 7v7 classes that we're offering. So I think there's a lot of benefit in that regard, having good working relationships with the others in your area. And I'll also say Allen's got a very good and very engaged soccer community and a very strong soccer board as well. So, you know, we put it out there to all the coaches at the end of last season that is a way of thanking them. If they came back and signed up to coach again this season, we put it in the budget that we would reimburse them for the cost of the classes once they actually complete the certification. And I think, you know, Sammy, you mentioned there that There is kind of some unknowns on what it actually involves. I mean, one of the key questions we keep getting when we're doing coach recruiting and trying to find the coaches that are the parent volunteers, they're anxious about not knowing how to get a team started, right? Bunch of 6, 7, and 8-year-olds running around can be difficult
Yeah.
to manage. So we try and be clear that, hey, this is the sort of thing, these classes are the ones that will set you up for success in that regard. It teaches you the age appropriate materials, teaches you kind of the do's and the don'ts, what's going to go flying over their head and what's going to be right in their wheelhouse, and actually get them engaged and showing you how to run the practices, just arming you with those skill sets. So I think that made a big difference. We do skills sessions, but skills sessions aren't for the coaches, right? Skills sessions are for the kids. So I think getting the coaches and the volunteers in the community armed with that knowledge and really explaining to them what it was and what it wasn't, as well as that location, I think that made a big difference.
Oh, perfect. And then Sam, you were talking about with yours, you talked about location being a huge impact on it. Had you talked to say like South Lake Soccer Association or the Colleyville Soccer Association or Soccer Association, something that y'all communicated the courses within each other?
Yeah, so we're part of an alliance, right? So we have a group, all the surrounding areas. We play against each other, and we meet quarterly or so, the presidents of each association, and then we have the seating for the brackets and that kind of thing. And so yeah, I let them all know that we were hosting. Also, we do reimburse our coaches as well. So I mean that's a nice incentive, right? Like if all you have to do
Oh,
is the
for sure.
work, which to me, every dollar you spend on education is, you get back tenfold. You get better retention, you get better quality coaches, and you get coaches that are coaching the same thing, right? Versus, what they saw on YouTube or, which
Oh, for sure.
looking up drills on YouTube. I mean, if you haven't done that as a coach, you haven't really tried.
Oh, no, that's true. And so out of that course that you had, how many do you think were actually from BAYFA that were attending? Because there was a
So
ton of people.
yeah,
there.
we only had two, me and another that were BAYFA. I think we had a couple from the Northern Mid Cities Alliance, but
Okay.
there was a lot of FC Dallas guys there. There was a lot of, I think I met one person from Austin. I actually met a lot of people that weren't associated with any organization. They were just trying to get their coach's license. And so
Oh,
I
yeah.
told them to let me know if they wanted to coach a team, because I always need coaches.
Oh, and the recruiting process. I remember one gentleman reached out to me and said he needed a team to move on, like both y'all are doing in the D course right now, but needed a team to be able to coach. And so I think maybe as a recruiting for other coaches, this might be another thing that we haven't even talked about.
It's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
I did Whistlemania this summer, and part of that is at the end you go meet all the organizations and you figure out what your geographical location is. Okay, well here's the organization that's closest to me. Let me get in contact with them. Let me get the contacts, and that might be something worth 5-10 minute conversation at the end of here's a list of all the organizations.
Oh, it's huge. And then kind of Dave, to go off yours as well, you talked about the giving it that brand new coach, and something I always thought was unbelievably powerful and scary is that, as you well know, a lot of the association will call that parent. In fact, my mom was the same one that showed up on when I first started playing, showed up and there was no coach there. And she just ended up by default being the coach, and now I'm stuck here. So, but I appreciate your mom my mom as we go through. But for that parent that either you coach the team or there's not a team, or we're going to refund, that's going to be a scary proposition, not understanding. So the fact that you guys are taking the time that both associations be a little bit willing to reimburse those coaches for going through the course. I think it's a good idea to reimburse, just because I know if you pay up front, they have a tendency not show up, but to be able to get them through the course and providing it for your membership, I think that is unbelievably powerful. And then to your point that you said, the Grassroots course is set up to be you know, a good pattern, a good methodology for a coach that doesn't understand, to give them access to the U.S. Soccer Learning Center that has the practices that develop for them in an educationally appropriate manner that is shown that anybody can run in a way that's going to be engaging. The kids are going to have fun. And so I kind of wanted to ask you, given that, how did you tell your coaches or let them know that they're going to be reimbursed? And what was the actual process that you went through to discuss it with them and let them know that this was something that you guys were going to do?
Yeah, so we I mean, you mentioned the Warren about paying in advance. We kind of explored very early on, maybe trying to find a code to give them or something like that, so they could register up front, and then walking through the process on that. Like you said, it's a little bit, okay, we're going to pay and they're not going to show up because
Right.
they don't have as much incentive to do that, right? So there's a lot of work that went on in the background for budgeting, to make sure that we set aside an appropriate amount of money in the budget for the association, um, kind of estimating out the number of volunteer coaches that we would get, starting off small, right? This is really the first time in Allen that we've done these coaching clinics. We figured, okay, we'll start with the 4v4 and the 7v7, and then depending on the reception there, we can build it out in the fall and maybe do like what Sammy's doing in the 9v9 and the 11v11. But we came to the agreement that the budget could sustain it, and the actual impact that we would get, on the field in terms of, I think it has a trickle down effect beyond just the quality of coaching. It's also going to help the kids. It helps the overall atmosphere as well. So when we talk about referees, it helps the parents understand, hey, this is a game and you're setting the example for the kids. You want them to have fun. You don't need to be yelling and screaming all the time at them. So yeah, once we had it worked out in the budget, we decided, okay, I sent over some of the examples of the certificates that I've gotten so that the office staff know what to look for when the reimbursement requests come in. And it's as simple as, okay, they're valid, they completed, they are an Allen coach. So we will go cut the check and get them reimbursed for that.
That is awesome. And so have you had feedback from any of the coaches yet? Either of y'all? Sammy, have you heard anything back from the course that you guys just held, or David, as you progress in? And I guess we'll start with Sammy, but then come back to you. It's like at the front end of the feedback you might have, and Sammy on the back end.
Yeah, I have. I haven't yet. Minus just the conversation I had during the class. We have a coaches meeting coming up, so I'm kind of waiting for that. But yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to see what a coach who hasn't gone through any of the grassroots programs before thinks of the the play practice play methodology and all that. I mean, player center approach, that's most coaches are going to agree with that from the get-go, but I know you got coaches that differ on opinions for play practice play versus practice versus line rondo, whatever whatever it is. So I always like to hear other coaches' opinions, because who knows what the right thing is. I follow the play practice play, and I like it. I feel like the structure makes it easy for little kids, especially because it's not as structured. The less structure, the better sometimes. But the buildup is nice, where you start working towards something, you kind of focus on it a little bit, and then you see what happens.
Oh, perfect. And then David, on your run in.
Yeah. So the biggest piece of feedback that we've had is anxiety that coaches are going to miss out because the classes are filling up quickly, which I like, right? It shows that the word of mouth is working and the engagement on the board. I kind of agree, Sammy, that the play practice play, but I like working in the rondos in the practice session. I think rondos are effective. But I think the buzz that is coming out in the community, in the Allen sports and soccer community as well, it's positive, and I hope it's something that we'll be able to build on. Like you, Sammy, we've got a coaches meeting coming up here the 12th of February. So that'll be kind of the last chance if there's openings left to fill out and round out the classes. Having this be the first time we've done this, I think it's likely we've got some coaches that are still working through the online portion of things, like doing the first prerequisite. But really, I mean, that's a free class. That's something I did 7 years ago when I started coaching, I think U6, U7, and then I progressively built up on that and pushed through it. So I think the more we keep working at this and the more we keep publicizing it, the better the results will be over time, because it just builds the knowledge base and people are ready and willing to progress more frequently.
We're looking
And
at
so-
making that
Go ahead, Sam.
that online, the Grassroots online course, the free one. We're looking at making that like a requirement, but we haven't, just because it's hard enough to get coaches, and then you start making them do further their education, and then but we're trying to build up a good group of coaches that don't have a problem with, furthering their education.
Oh, perfect. So let me ask you this. So in the future, if there's something you could do different or something you would suggest to, let's say, it's another soccer association that's having questions about, how to market it, how to press it through, what things do you think you would do differently? What things do you think you do well? And then what advice would you have for like a fellow association? And Sammy, we'll start with you and then come back to David again.
I would say for sure, a lot of lead time. Like, make sure you give a lot of notice, because especially if we were lucky, because the class happened before the season started. Once the season starts, it's almost impossible. Like, I mean, because I don't know. Our season starts in the end of February, and I don't know when my games are going to be yet. So it's like, it's really hard to plan for a class that's in March. This happened to me last season, where I tried to take one of these classes, and then I ended up having a game like right in the middle of the class, so I had to cancel. So I would say try to schedule time outside of the normal, like close enough to where the coaches are in soccer mode. Because rec coaches, they're not always in soccer mode all the time. So catch them a month before the season starts, when they're starting to think about it, and then or a month after maybe, and then also give them a lot of time.
Perfect. I love it. And then David, what do you got?
Yeah, I'd echo that. I mean, we started planning this as a soccer board way back before the fall season had finished. So we were planning out when we were going to kick off the spring season, knowing that we were doing the 4v4s and the 7v7s. We intentionally placed the sessions the weekend before the season is due to start for that age group. Honestly, and I'm surprised and happy that the uptake's been as much as it has been. I think it's great. We need more space, because I think we're going to have more coaches that are looking to do this when we chat with them at the coaches meeting. Social media, I think's important as well, right? So we publicize, hey, if we've done well at Tournament of Champions, we recognize those teams that have performed well. We're looking at trying to engage coaches more on the thank yous, because sometimes the coaches don't get a lot of thank yous, and it's a thankless job. But I think that's social media is probably a key component of it as well. I'm not on social media, so that makes it difficult for me to track and see how it's going. So maybe that's just a blind spot for me that would be something I'd hone in on a little bit more if we go forward with the 9v9 and the 11v11 in the fall, which I'm hopeful that we will do.
Heck, we at North Texas will be more than happy to support both of y'all's education for the future. And you guys are showing enough that it may be a D. If you'd like to host a D in the future, we can sure set that up, because the numbers are showing success. And that's not a problem as well, because both of y'all did excellent. So, any last thoughts before we close out tonight's meeting or tonight's webinar?
I don't think so. I think I enjoyed the course. I thought it was very educational. I like it's tough. Like, I think it's hard to do a course like that where you have that many coaches. It's hard to involve everyone. And I feel like the way North Texas does it is about the best possible way. Like, I couldn't think of a better way of doing it, minus, having as many coaches as there are instructors as there are coaches. But
Right.
having a good group I will say this, if you do host a clinic, pick a good team that already has a good coach and have them come be your demo, because we were lucky. The girls we had for our 9v9 are, gosh, they're some of the easiest kids to coach in the world. Like, you tell them to do something, they just do it immediately. And it makes the training session a lot easier when you have good demo kids.
That is a huge point, Daniel. That you brought that up. I didn't even think about that too, but the importance of having quality kids, because we've also had it to where with some association hosts and there's no kids. And so then the coaches have to go in, and one of the beauty of the play, practice, play, and the grassroots coaching, it's geared to show you how it's effective with players. It's adults sometimes it's not the same coaching adults, especially people that have been around the game for a long time. But it's really neat to see how with a 4v4 team this actually works. All the stuff works, and like you guys both insinuated in the beginning, is there's that intimidation factor for that brand new coach that you say, oh, hey, anybody can do this as long as you follow the pattern, and then actually builds the coaches. So excellent point. And then David, any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I would just say I think everything that you've done and North Texas has done to really bring coaching back front and center, I think it's made a big difference. Honestly, I remember struggling at times to find sessions. So getting them back on the radar and back on the map, I think is fantastic. And the sheer volume of engagement that's come from all the different associations, I think that's really a testament to you and all the staff at North Texas as well. So I think that's a big plus.
Yeah, I will tell you, I'm blessed to work with some incredible people. I know the staff there at North Texas is amazing, and it's been fun. I really enjoyed it. And then luckily I get to work with you guys, so that makes it even better. But with that, I think I'll close it out and tell you I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedule. And once again, I'm looking forward to the Allen clinics. Unfortunately, I'll be in Odessa, but I've got you some rock star educators coming out there too. And then Sammy, it was great suffering with you in the cold.
Yeah.
That was so cool. So, but once again, thanks on behalf of North Texas Soccer Association. We appreciate all the things you guys are doing for your coaches, and I think it's shown. It's neat to see the representation you have bring out. So obviously, you guys are doing the right things for the right reasons, and know it's been seen and know it's appreciated. With that, I'll close this out for tonight on tonight's webinar, and we'll have this thing posted up for everybody in the future. And if you don't mind, would you guys mind if association wanted to contact either of y'all?
Oh, no, yes.
Questions.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fine. Not a problem at all.
We actually, after our coaching session, we started a Facebook group just so the coaches could stay in contact with each other, because, sorry, I'm not trying to drag on this meeting, but during the,
No, you're fine. That's great.
During the coaches, questionnaire at the end, it always talks about like a coach's mentor. And my question is always like, well, where the heck do I get one of those? Like,
oh, no, for sure.
If you don't have one readily available, that's not something easy to get. So yeah, we got everybody together, and I mean, it hasn't been the most active group in the world, but there's been people talking about like, oh, hey, do you have a drill to do this? Like, or do you have a training session to work on, XYZ?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, in fact, I joined the group. Now I feel like a slacker because I'm not the most active Facebook guy either. So I'm the poster child of what you're talking about on the bad side. But I'll do a better job of fixing that, because I thought it was neat. It's called the Grassroots, wasn't it? Grassroots Soccer.
Grassroots Soccer Coaches, I think. Yeah.
Yep. No, so it's really neat that you did that and started that. So I mean, there's lots of really good ideas that we can tag on too. And I'll be better, I promise. I'll do a lot better with the Facebook thing. I try to be better, but it is what it is. But all righty. With that being said, thank you guys very much, and I'll close this out. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the pitch later on.
All right. Thanks again, Warren.